Well, hello folks, it's been a couple of weeks since you last saw one of my videos, and there is a reason for that. Been quite busy. First off, my daughter was moving house, over 2 weeks ago now. So I was moving her on a Thursday through till the Saturday, and was expecting a baby the following Thursday. So I was quite busy getting her moved in and sorting everything out, and the baby still hadn't arrived on the Thursday. So I've been looking after her granddaughter, which is her other daughter. My wife's been around there most days, just in case the baby's due. She's still not had it yet. Like I said, it was due a week last Thursday. It's going to be induced on Sunday if she's not had it, but she's been getting twinges all yesterday and today, so it could be any time soon. So that's the reason you've not seen me doing any videos. Been too busy, and in between that I've been doing some decorating in the kitchen and the bathroom that needed doing. I've been on standby to do stuff like that, and that's why I've not been doing anything. But anyway, going back to the Retay rifle, I've got some notes in front of me now. Now, the original Retay Regulator was not really working. It was set at around 170 bar. So with the original regulator fitted, I did a shot string, and 15 shots gave 8 foot-pounds. And over that shot cycle, the actual power gradually starts to rise after the 170 bar. So it was set at 180, it shot down to the 170, so that little gap there, it was only pushing out 8 foot-pounds. Then after that it gradually started to rise. When it reached about 138 bar in the cylinder, that was 72 shots in, and the curve started to flatten again then. So between shot 72 and shot 107, that was down to 120 bar. The extreme spread was 18 feet per second, and the power was pushing about 10 to 11 foot-pound at that. So it didn't have much of a shot curve at all. It started off like that, and then it went up like that, and then flattened out again. So I thought, well, the regulator set at the wrong pressure. So I got in touch with Robert Lane, and Robert was really good. He just asked me some information on it, and he's actually made me a regulator. Now, if you've got a Retay rifle, don't matter which one in the range or a Pishtov, the blocks on these and the internals are all the same. So this should be similar to this. So he asked me for different dimensions. So the diameter of the original regulator was 30.74 millimeters in diameter. The cylinder internal diameter was approximately 31 millimeters. I couldn't get right into it, but that was an approximation. The valve transfer port was 4 millimeters. The transfer port in the block leading from the valve was 5 millimeters, and the barrel transfer port was 3.5 millimeters. So they're all pretty big anyway. Now in the valve block, the plenum, he asked me what size that was, and the internal dimensions on that for the air were 21.87 millimeters in diameter internally, by 23.45 millimeters deep. So from that he worked out what set the regulator at, and I actually sent him the original regulator for him to have a good laugh at, which he said didn't work anyway. I also sent the hammer and the hammer spring so he could assess the tension on that, and I also sent him the complete valve assembly, and he could check up on that. What he needed to know was the distance from the start of the cylinder to the end of the thread, and I got the length of the thread was 12 millimeters to the cylinder internal diameter, and from the ridge of the cylinder to the edge of the thread was 17 millimeters, so that left a 5 millimeter lip right at the end of the cylinder. So from that I could work out how big the actual air volume was and how far in the regulator needed to go, and he managed to do the regulator so it actually fit inside the valve block plenum, so that was really good. Based on those dimensions, set the regulator at 80 bar, and they sent me the package, which arrived a couple of days later. Now, initial tests with the valve spring packed out at 4 millimeters, and the regulator set at 80 bar. So I did, for the first test I did in 4 parts using Bisley Magnums at 10.65 grains. I didn't weigh them, straight out of the tin. So first 22 shots I fired from a 100 bar fill, and that gave an average of 10.6 foot-pounds. The second test I filled the rifle to 140 bar, again 22 shots, and that gave me 10.9 foot-pounds. The third test I filled the cylinder to 160 bar, another 22 shots, and that averaged 10.85 foot-pounds. And the final test was from a 200 bar fill, 22 shots gave me 10.7 foot-pounds. So we've got an average there of around 10.8 foot-pounds over the entire shot string. Now, it's not where I wanted the power to be. I wanted it to be about 11 foot-pounds, but it's between 11.6 and 11.9, which isn't bad really. That was based on those settings: the regulator set at 80 bar and the 4mm packing of the valve spring. The test after that, I thought I'll try some different pellets, see how they turn out. So I tried 3 other pellets, same sort of test, 11 shots each this time, and the pellets tested with the JSB Hades, the Daystate Rangemaster Sovereign, and the JSB Exact Heavies. So the JSB Hades at 10.34 grains, regulator set at 80 bar with 4mm packing, with the 11 shots that gave me an average of 10.9 foot-pounds. So same again, these Hades are an efficient pellet, so we're close to the 11 on those. Daystate Rangemaster Sovereign 8.44 grains. I expected these to not be so powerful, and I was right on that because they're a lot lighter. So 11 shots gave me an average of 10.13 foot-pounds, and then the final group was the JSB Exact Heavies at 10.34 grains, and they gave an average of 10.42 foot-pounds. So that showed that although the Hades and the JSB Exacts weigh the same, the Hades are a bit more efficient by about 0.6 of a foot-pound. So that's why I say the Hades are pretty efficient down the barrel. So after this I thought, well, I don't want to mess with the regulator yet, so what I'll do is reduce the packing on the valve spring. So I reduced the valve packing from 4mm down to 3mm. The reg will still remain at 80 bar, filled it to 200 bar using the JSB Hades. I did a 44 shot string, and over that 44 shots it gave me an average of 10.4 foot-pounds. So I thought it might increase the power, but it actually reduced it slightly. Test 4, I decided to increase the regulator pressure to 85 bar and reduce the valve spring packing by 2mm. Using the JSB Exact Heavies at 10.34 grains, I fired 11 shots with an average of 10.6 foot-pounds. So the average had gone up by 0.2 of a foot-pound on the previous use of that pellet. So test 5, I decided to remove the valve spring packing altogether. So the regulator was set at 85 bar. First part of the test was to check the bottom end of the fill using the JSB Hades 10.34 grain with a fill pressure of 110 bar, because sometimes you can get power spikes lower down. So from 11 shots it now was giving me an average of 11.1 foot-pound, which is where I wanted it to be. After that I filled the rifle to 170 bar to make sure that it was also good at the top end of the fill. I fired all the pellets I got left of the Hades, which were 51 shots, and that returned an average of 11 foot-pounds over the entire 51 shots. So I'm really pleased with that. So conclusions then. If this barrel was 11 inches long, if the barrel was 17 inches long, you could go up to 60 feet per second extra because of the extra length of the barrel, and I think that is the big problem you get with a shorter barrel. If this had been a proper size 17-inch barrel, 80 bar would have easily been adequate, I think, because you'd have got the extra power from the barrel length. So because the barrel is short, the regulator setting needs to be higher than 80 bar. So I would think between 85 to 90 bar on this particular 11-inch barrel is about what you need to be set at, and that'll be the ideal for the rifle, I think, as it stands. I've got some more pellets on order. What I might do is check that theory out and set it to 90 bar. But as it stands, for the 11-inch barrel, I'm getting at least 120 shots over the entire fill cycle at around 11 foot-pound on this particular tune it's set up now. So it's definitely benefited by having the Robert Lane Regulator fitted. I did a test with the regulator removed, and I'll put the charts up on screen as I'm reading all these. But from the 200 bar fill with no regulator, it gave an average of 7.4 foot-pounds, a high of 10.8 and a low of 3.5 at the top end of the fill. And what tends to happen when it's not regulated is you'll fill the cylinder to 200 bar, the hammer will strike the valve, and because it's full, it's harder for the hammer to open the valve. As the pressure drops down, the hammer finds it easier to open that valve because there's not so much pressure behind, so the power increases. And there's your benefit straight away of fitting a regulator, a good regulator that is, not the one that's in it originally. What you can do then is set that pressure low down where you know it starts to just come on tune, and then no matter how full the rifle is, it's still only going to get 80 bar at the regulator, and the hammer's only hitting 80 bar against the valve as well. So there's your difference. Like I say, 3.5 foot-pound at the top end, and that was an extreme spread of 338 feet per second, standard deviation of 100 feet per second. So if you bear that in mind, with no regulator in whatsoever, the rifle was producing an average of 7.4 foot-pounds, 10.8 foot-pounds high, and a low of 3.5 foot-pounds, extreme spread of 338 and a standard deviation of 100 feet per second. As it currently stands on the tune I've got it at the moment, I've got an average of 11 foot-pounds, a high of 11.4 and a low of 10.6. An extreme spread of 25 and a standard deviation of 5.5. And that's 300 times better than the last one, with no regulator, I should say. Yeah, I've not finished tuning it yet, and yes, I will be getting a new barrel for it later on in the year, so it will need tuning down when that's fitted. But when I did look at the shot string as it was coming up, a lot of the shots were 11 foot-pounds or 11.1. Then you get one or two that are either read low or read high, but most of it was around 11 and 11.1 foot-pounds. So that is the ideal tune really at the moment. I'll still be testing it out, but there'll be more to follow on this. I just thought I'd update you on what I've been doing since you last saw me. But what I'll do next, I'll go out on the backyard range at 20 yards and I will test out the magazine again against a single shot tray. I did find the magazine a bit easier to deal with. I've been messing around with it and trying to tweak it a bit, so we'll see how that gets on, but so far so good. I want to say a big thanks to Robert Lane. Thanks Rob for sorting me out this regulator, and if you're after a good regulator for your Retay or your Pishtov, give Rob a call and he'll sort you out. I did tell him if he wants to put the regulator on his website, I can do a link to it, but if he's not done that yet and you've got one of these and you want to improve on it, just give him a call and he'll sort you out. So that's it for now. So next up we'll do a little accuracy test and I will catch you in the next video. So we'll see you soon. Okay then, you've seen the initial tune. I'm not finished with it yet, but it's a lot better than where it was, for sure. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to test the accuracy again. First with the single shot tray, and then with the supplied multi-shot. Now I have seemed to get one of these magazines appear to be working okay. A lot of it's got to do with the screw underneath, because that locks the cassette in place, the magazine cassette, when it's done its full rotation. So a lot of it's got to depend on how tight that is and how much tension you put on the cassette before you tighten it up. So I'll do some single shot groups and I'll see if it remains consistent with the magazine. So got Barracuda match, it's weighed 10.65 grains. So I'll start off with these and we'll see how we do. Okay then, starting off with the single shot tray. Side to the left. Same again. Creating a nice little group there, so that's thanks to Cliff Kirkman crowning the barrel, re-crowning it. Right, so next up will be the magazine. Make adjustments. Just left and centre again. Can't see that one. Oh, that's a light. Double shot. Still in the same place. Yeah. Right, I'll load this up again. And I'll just hold the group to see what it's grouping like. Okay, this time we're going to go for the top right. Okay, that seemed okay. I'll go to the top left now, but single shot it, see if I can get a tight group. So single shot wise, it's pellet on pellet. Still possibly problems with the magazine. I'll do one more group with the magazine and I'll be shooting at the bottom left just to sure that the magazine does group them okay, but not as tight as a single shot loader, which is sometimes the case, but some magazines and certain rifles it makes no difference whether it's magazine fed or single shot, so a lot of it's down to how the magazine feeds and what tension's on the skirts when it gets fed. This will be the last group. Same again, single shot tray there, that's what Cliff Kirkman made me, so thanks Cliff, working good. And then bottom left. Oh, I'm shooting a bloody branch here, hang on. Ignore those last two. Clipping the branch on the way down. The magazine does appear to be feeding okay now. So, I'll go for the right hand target, bottom right. Not as good as the single shot tray. Just to make sure it's going wrong. Five shots at the left hand target. Single shot tray. Definitely getting a better result with a single shot tray. It has a tendency to shoot a bit higher than the magazine part. So I think all the problems you could be getting with accuracy with these rifles is because it's an 11-inch barrel coming to there. Between this part of the barrel and the end of that moderator, between here and there is a hollow tube. That void itself plus the silencer could be affecting the shot. It could be clipping the silencer for all I know. That's why I intend fitting a standard size 17-inch barrel that will go right to the end. I'm sure that will solve any of the accuracy problems. The magazines, they are creating inaccuracy. You get in groups, but it opens up once you start using the magazine. But as far as the consistency of the shots go, that's okay now. As you remember looking at the graph, without a regulator in it, at 200 bar, it was pushing out just perhaps 3.5 to 4 foot-pounds, and gradually start to climb in power until it got to around 130 bar. And then it came into about 10 foot-pounds there, climbed to around 11 by the time it got to 120 bar. So between 10 and 11, between 100, I think it was 130 odd bar, 120 bar, something like that. So consistency was shit. But now I'm getting, with this particular tune, I'm getting an average of 11 foot-pounds from a 200 bar fill right down to the regulator at 85 bar. I've not done a full shot string with it yet, but that's going to be at least 120 shots. But I'll take it from there anyway. Keep you updated. Sorry I've not been around the last couple of weeks, but you know why now. So over the next week or so I'll be testing the rifle out, and at least the power and the consistency issues should be sorted out anyway. Thanks to Rob Lane for doing the regulator for me. If you need one of these doing, whether it's for Pishtov, Retay, if you contact Rob, I'm sure he'll help me out. Looking at the range, both of the ranges of rifles, the actual block, the cylinders and valves are all the same in all the different rifles they do, so one regulator should fit all. If you've got a longer barrel than the 11-inch, the only difference there in the tune will be it'll be more efficient, because you probably get the extra 60 feet per second out of a full length barrel, so you could probably either tune it lower down the range, really, less air, to get the same results. So shorter barrels need more air. So that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.